Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe. Hi, I'm Rob from robnotphoto.com, and this video is for anybody who's already bought or thinking about buying an SJCAM SJ4000 Wi-Fi or the non-Wi-Fi version, and you don't just really want to use it as an action camera, because it's great as an action camera, you can't beat it for the price really, but you might maybe want to think about using it as a everyday video camera for going out and taking general video of the family, or if like myself you record lots of YouTube videos, you maybe want to use it as a third person camera rather than using your phone all the time to kind of take pictures as you're walking along. You might think, well, actually I want something like a GoPro kind of alternative, but something that's a lot cheaper. Because the beauty is you can stick the SJCAM, the SJ4000 on a stick, on a tripod. You can dink it in water. You can operate it remotely using your phone if you've got the Wi-Fi version, and it just comes in really handy for taking shots. Video shots, that is, of you sort of in lots of different locations, without having the expense of a big and the inconvenience of a DSLR or using your phone, which you could drop or anything like that. However, the big disadvantage with the SJ4000 and any sort of camera that ends up in this sort of thing in a waterproof case is the fact that the audio is going to be really, really muffled. And in fact, with the SJ4000, when it's in its waterproof case, apart from things that are right next to it, like that are tapping on the case or are very, very loud, you can't hear anything. If I had the this camera in a waterproof case now as I'm recording the video, you won't be able to hear it. Now, wait a minute, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, Rob, this audio sounds really good. That's because I'm not using the built-in mic on my SJCAM. I'm actually using this little baby here. This is a ATR3350 Lav mic, which is plugged into a Zoom H1 handy recorder, and I'm recording the audio onto this. But I tell you what, why don't we just stop a second, and you can listen to a couple of examples of the SJ4000 as it sounds like if you're recording it using the internal mic, using the frame holder, and then using the internal mic if it's in the waterproof holder as well, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so this is what the audio sounds like on the SJCAM SJ4000 Wi-Fi using the internal mic on the camera, but with the camera in its kind of little frame case, not the waterproof case. It's just like in the frame one there. So as you can probably see, it's quite quiet. As you can probably hear, it's a little bit quiet. And I guess the problem for me is, although you could use this and it would make things an awful lot easier for syncing the track to something like your Zoom H1 or whatever sort of other recorder you would use, you're losing the toughness, the roughness of the camera. You're losing the waterproof case, where if you drop it, it doesn't really matter, it's going to bounce. If you drop it in a puddle or something, obviously when it's in this case, you could damage the camera and damage the lens. But as a comparison, this is the audio from the internal microphone, and what I'll do next is I'll fire up the camera with it in its waterproof case, but you probably won't be able to hear a word I'm saying. Okay, so maybe you'll be able to hear me if I try and talk really loud. If I clap my hands, you might be able to hear this. So there you go. As you can see, the audio isn't that great, if you're using the internal mic. So the alternative then is to use something like this. Use the ATR3350 Lav mic, incredibly cheap from Amazon. It's about £22, less in America. And then you plug that Lav mic into a portable recorder like the Zoom H1. Again, incredibly cheap, less than £100. You can use it as a standalone recorder using the stereo mics. But the beauty of obviously using a system like this is the fact that you're probably going to want to be using your action camera, your SJ4000, when you're on location somewhere, aren't you? You're going to be wandering around, maybe you're in the woods, maybe you're out taking photographs, landscape, or down the beach or something, and you want your hands free to do other stuff. So you want to be able to set the camera up, start recording the video, start recording the audio, and with this, because there's no wires in between the camera and the recorder, you basically got a wireless system, so this can sit in your pocket. and no matter how far away you are from the camera, the audio is always going to be the same because the microphone's here. Now there is a bit of a catch though, and that catch is you do have to sync the audio up manually if you're using this little baby, the waterproof case, and probably actually if you're using the frame case as well, because there's just not enough sound for programs like Adobe's Premiere Pro or Pluralize to be able to sync the audio tracks together. You've got to do it manually, which is what you would do in something like Windows Movie Maker anyway. And it is pretty simple to do. Basically, all you do is you import the video and the separate audio file into your program, and you just bring up the waveforms of the audio, you know, the little spiky things, and you just look at where you start talking. And if you do some clicks very close to the camera, it will just about pick them up if it's inside here, and you can line those clicks up. Or if that doesn't work, you can just see where you start talking in the video, and then just slide the audio backwards and forwards until it works. Because the reason kind of why I got my SJ4000 wasn't because I'm an extreme sportsman. It's not because I go out skateboarding and snowboarding. Far from it. I'm quite a sedentary person. But, you know, I record lots of videos for YouTube and field trials where I'm out and about with camera gear. And instead of having my phone sort of taking photos and doing videos like this and talking to it, I wanted something, a dedicated video camera that wasn't going to cost the earth like a GoPro, and would have really nice video quality. And the thing that I love about the SJ4000 is the video quality is great, 1080p. When you're outside, that is. When you're inside, this is probably a little bit grainy and the colour's probably a little bit off, even though I have adjusted it in Premiere Pro. What I really love about it is you can use it as a great video camera, and it's great at time lapses as well. The resolution on time lapses and stills is pretty low. It's like 2 megapixels at 1080p. But for video, it's really good. For time lapse, it's really good. And it's so small and so lightweight. I'm really looking forward to taking it out on field trials, so you can come along and I can record not only me wandering around, but then do time lapses and all sorts of interesting stuff like that. But again, the audio is something that's important. So this is why I think this sort of setup could come in handy for lots of people. So what we'll do now is I'll kind of stop talking inside, and I'm going to show you some footage earlier on when I was down by the Millennium Bridge in Gosport and recording some stuff in the car using the Zoom H1 as a recorder this way, not using as a lav mic, and then out and about sort of wandering around a little bit as well, so you can get an idea of the audio performance you could get if you wanted to come up with this sort of setup using something like the SJCAM SJ4000, an ATR3350 mic from Audio-Technica, and a Zoom H1 handy recorder as kind of a package. So without further ado, let's go and have a look. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm recording the video using my SJ4000, and I'm recording the audio using my Zoom H1 handy recorder. A really cheap little budget separate recorder that records really nice stereo sound. And then what you do is you record the track separately. As you can see, there's no wires in between the SJ4000 and the Zoom handy H1. And then you go into your post-processing software like Adobe Premiere or Windows Movie Maker, and then you sync the tracks up. It's a real simple way of doing things, and hopefully you can see you know the audio quality is much better. However, the disadvantage is I've got to carry this thing. So next up, we're going to try and do it with a lapel mic to see how simpler it is and easier, because you haven't got one hand having to hold the mic all the time. Okay, so what I'm doing now is, again, I'm recording the video using the SJ4000, but I'm recording the audio through a Audio-Technica ATR3350, I think it's called. Let me have a quick look at the box, because it's been a while since I've used this one. It is indeed something like that. Doesn't say on the box. I'm pretty sure it's an ATR3350, ATR3350, there we go, Lav mic. Comes in that box, but you can see it just about there. And the beauty of using the lav mic is the lav mic, obviously there's a wire that goes down underneath my jumper, and then it's connected to my Zoom H1 handy recorder just here, which is recording everything that I can check the levels on and do all that sort of stuff. But now I've got both hands free. In effect, I've virtually got a wireless microphone system, so I can be using the SJ4000 and recording via this and get nice quality audio. Again, it's mono, and remember, all the audio files in this particular kind of guide, I've taken them into Audacity, I've cleaned them up, and then I've put them into Lavalier to boost the levels, so it sounds better. But this is a really easy solution if you want to use the SJ4000 in as a kind of a third camera, to do sort of third person things of when you're out and about shooting, or even, you know, the main video camera you use. This is a way that you could get a lot better audio quality than you can just using the built-in microphone. Okay, so that's enough in the car. What we'll do now is we'll now go outside and do some audio recording on location, if you like, where there's going to be wind and different noise, so you kind of get a better idea of the improvement in audio that way as well. Okay, so we're out and about now. I've got the recorded the video obviously using the SJ4000 Wi-Fi. I'm recording the audio using my ATR Lapel Mic, the ATR3350, which is going into the Zoom H1. So there's no wires between the camera and the mic, and of course we sync them up afterwards. Now it's quite windy up here on the bridge. You can probably see the bridge behind me there, down in Gosport. And if I probably go this way, you probably get quite a bit of wind noise because the wind is coming this way. But the idea again is that if you are in this sort of situation, you might have to turn your gain up and get the mic a little bit closer. Sorry, turn your gain down, get the mic a little bit closer, or just kind of move so that you're out of the wind a little bit, or at least the mic is out of the wind. But if you wanted to use the SJ4000 to do pieces to camera like this, and you wanted to improve the audio quality over the audio quality which is built into the microphone in the camera, which is difficult because it's in its waterproof casing, you know, this might be quite a simple solution, cheap solution as well, for under £100 that you might want to look at. Okay, so I've come somewhere a little bit quieter, so there's not quite as much wind noise. So hopefully, again, you'll be getting a good idea of the sound quality you get if you use the SJ4000 Wi-Fi as your video camera, but then use something like the ATR3350 Lav mic to record your audio and then sync them up. Again, the ATR3350 is going into my Zoom H1, and this will all be synced up in Premiere Pro or Windows Movie Maker, whichever one you prefer. And I'll be cleaning up the files in Audacity and boosting up the levels in Lavalier. So I don't know, what do you think? Is this a good option? Does this work for you? Does this mean that you can use a really cheap action camera like the SJ4000 as you know, a to-camera video camera, rather than using something like your phone or a DSLR? What do you think? As ever, make sure you put some comments down below, and if you've got any other ideas for how you might want to do this, let me know too.